Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Satire Workshop, How to Turn Headlines into Comedy Confirmation. My name is Tama Graham. I'll be a co-host of this event. Super excited to be here with you and to learn from two amazingly funny and smart individuals. We'll give it a few minutes to let everybody get in the door or the virtual room. So we'll just give it about maybe 1 minute or two before we make our intros and get this thing kicked off. If you're just coming in, welcome. Hello, hello. My name is Tama Graham. I am the co-host for today, and we have an amazing lineup. We have two very, very funny individuals that are going to teach you and teach me how to be funnier, especially when it comes to satire. Welcome, welcome. All right. Looks like we've got a bunch of people still coming in, so we will give it another minute before we get started. So come on in. If you want to say hi in the chat, feel free. You're welcome to tell us where you're dialing in from today. We'd love to know. Welcome, everyone. Welcome if you're just coming in. My name is Tama Graham. So excited to be here with you as part of this great event where we are going to learn how to turn headlines into comedy confirmation. Whoop, whoop. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We do have a full house tonight, and we want to make sure that we get through all of the material. So, again, my name is Tama Graham. I have the pleasure of working with Scott Dickers. He is very, very funny, and he is one of the amazing co hosts tonight, along with Mark. So, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll make the introductions. First, I'll start with Mark. Mark Warzeka. Mark Warzeka has 2 decades at the Second City Comedy Theater. He is an award-winning head writer and artistic director, overseeing dozens of original sketch comedy reviews across North America, including multiple productions at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., as well as the Second City on the main stage and ETC, and the Kirk Douglas Theater in Los Angeles, featuring sketch writers, performers, who have been featured on SNL, Key and Peele, Ted Lasso, Netflix's I Think You Should Leave, Fox's The Simpsons, HBO's A Black Lady sketch show, and many, many, many more. An amazing talent that we are excited to have with us today. And we also have the illustrious Scott Dickers. If you don't know Scott Dickers, he founded theonion.com and he co-wrote its best-selling books. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential pioneers in comedy. His visionary leadership at The Onion, his groundbreaking comic strip, Jim's Journal, and his multiple top 10 comedy podcasts have earned him millions of fans all over the world. Rolling Stone even named him one of its top 10 favorite writers. Entertainment Weekly called him the funniest person in America and placed him on the It list of the hottest celebrities in show business. He has graced the cover of Time magazine as one of the top 50 movers and shakers online, and he's the winner of the Thurber Prize for American Humor, a Peabody, and several Webby Awards. Welcome, Mark, and welcome, Scott.
Thank you,
Thanks,
thank you,
Tam.
thank you. Thanks, Tam.
Absolutely.
Great to be here. And it looks like our chat is disabled or something. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can see what we can do about that.
See if we can get it. I think I may have just perhaps adjusted it. But Tam, I'll let you take it from there. And
All
thanks for
right.
there it is. I see
there
There
we
it
people
is.
go. There we
chatting.
go.
Come on, we want to chat with you all today. Um,
Beautiful.
Great to be here, Tam. Thanks for that fantastic introduction, and
Yeah.
thank you all for joining us tonight. Scott and I are excited to talk about and teach you some of our keys on a subject that has been a huge part of each of our careers and something that we're both just personally really passionate about, which is writing news based satire. I want to mention that our webinar here tonight is sponsored by, well, it's sponsored by us. We're the sponsor tonight. It's sponsored by our 4-session masterclass, How to Turn Headlines into Comedy, which starts 1 week from tonight. In this webinar session, Scott and I have prepared 4 keys for you. These are keys to current event satire. I've got 10 total. Scott's got 10 total. Tonight we're going to present 2 each. Useful takeaways for you. And then in the masterclass over the next 4 weeks, we'll be presenting the next 16. Scott, anything you want to mention, add, etc. before we start writing together and I dive into my first key?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your 2 keys. One thing about the masterclass is 16 more keys, plus it's going to be a Zoom meeting. It's not going to be a webinar like this, so we'll do a lot more interaction with everybody who signs up, and we'll review work, and it's going to be very interactive, and it's going to be incredible. I'm super excited about it. Mark and I have done a few webinars before, but we've never done a course together, and we're going to be a powerhouse, Mark and me, working together. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, why don't you kick it off, Mark, with your keys to current event satire? I'm excited to see this.
We're excited for that, and I'm excited to see all of these comments in chat and seeing where people are joining us.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes,
yeah,
welcome from all over the globe. I love that we get the opportunity in this medium to come together and be creative together from all over the world. Welcome in everywhere from all over the globe. So cool to have you all here. I am, by the way, coming to you from Los Angeles, California today, and kicking it off from LA with key number 1. I mean, really want to start like foundationally here in terms of a look at satire. And for me, I look at satire as being a form of comedy with a point of view. So I'm fleshing that out a little bit here on this next slide. That satire is comedy with a specific point of view, intended not just to entertain, but to perhaps provoke thought or even inspire change, right? So it's comedy with a point of view. The news is happening. We're all seeing the news. Each satirist has the same news items to work off of. But what makes one person's satire different than another person's satire is their point of view. What's going to make your satire different than my satire, different than Tam's or Scott's, is your point of view. How you see that issue, what your take is on it. The news is the same no matter what. But why do I watch? Why do I watch Jon Stewart, or why do I watch John Oliver, or on the other side, if you watch Greg Gutfeld, right? Like, why are we looking to them? They've all got the same news to work with. We go to satirists for their take, right? For their point of view. So when I first started writing news-based comedy, I thought this is how you approach it. I thought something happens in the news, and I think, what's funny about that? How do I make it funny? How do I get people to laugh at that? What I've learned through my experiences as a head writer director at the Second City and other places where we focus on satire is that putting the funny first can actually be tricky. It can get us in our head. And that instead what can be helpful to us as satirists is to, when creating satire, is to put the funny at the end of a creative process. that there's some process in place that goes from, okay, this thing happened in the news, to what's your funny point of view and take on it. That there's a creative process there. And so in my keys, we're going to kind of explore that a little bit. What could be that creative process? How do we find your point of view? How do we find your take that's different than everyone else's take? I want to offer up some tools for you here today that I hope will be useful not only now, but that you can keep with you and continue to use as useful satire tools. All right, this is a real event, a picture of a real event that really happened in the world this past Sunday night. Here in the United States, in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, in front of the White House was, on Sunday night, a UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship card. Right there in front of the White House. It's an event in the news right now. Event in the news right now. Right? So, as I was just saying, I think that for me, approaching satire, trying to go too funny first can be a challenge. What I encourage satirists to try to do, and what I do, is to first kind of suss out and examine, before you're worried about the funny, what is your point of view on this thing that just happened in the world? What's your point of view on this news item? And so I want to offer up a couple quick tools right now that I think can help you as a satirist go from the news item to a point of view. And one is just, it's just asking yourself some process, starting the creative process questions. With the first one being, and I'd love to hear from you in chat, how do I feel about it? How do I feel about UFC on the White House lawn? How do I feel about it? Tell us in chat right now. Just when you think of that issue, when you think of that item, I'm not looking for pitches and I'm not looking for jokes and I'm not looking for comedy yet. Right? I just want to like start to suss out like the point of view, your point of view. Here's some of the things I'm seeing in chat. Indigestion, America at its finest, out of place, absurd. I want to be more surprised, but somehow I'm not. Trashy, embarrassed, sad, abused, irritated. I think it's kind of dumb, actually. It feels uncanny. I think many people made a lot of money. Good. How do you feel about it? That's what I want to get to. I personally feel confused because I like UFC, but I wasn't a fan of doing it on the White House lawn, so I'm so conflicted. I'm a UFC person. Here's another question you can ask yourself. To begin a creative process of getting too funny on news-based items, why do I care about it? If you care about it, if you have this feeling about it, why? Why do you care about it? Okay, so kind of another level of depth. But if you're up for it, drop in chat an answer to this question. Why? Why do you care about it? If you care about it, why do you care about it? What does it matter? They could have it or not have it. How does it affect you? Some of the stuff coming in chat here. Because I pay taxes. Because they run our country. Waste of taxpayer dollars. I didn't make a lot of money. Oh, hi, Jamie. Jamie says, wait, if you didn't care, am I in trouble? No, I'm going to address that in a second, actually. You may not care about this. That's okay. Yeah. Good. He's nothing special anymore. Yeah, so we're answering the question now, why you care about it. How do you feel about it? Why do you care about it? This could be raw material for you. Okay, one more question I'm going to put up here. These are the types of things you can ask yourself to begin the creative process. Now, this one is leading a little bit more into the comedy. This one's leading a little into the comedy. What would make it more ridiculous? If you think it's ridiculous, what could make it more ridiculous? Maya says, hi, Maya. Maya says, politicians in the ring. Tam said, actual clowns. Donald in the ring, says me. Monster truck, somebody said, dog fight is opening event. Multiple people said monster trucks. That's a monster trucks here. A suggestion for Elon versus Mark Zuckerberg. Good. And a ton to mud wrestling politicians, actual gladiators, and a ton more. So these questions help to examine for you as a writer your point of view. Answering these questions and others like them, I'm just offering up 3 here now, can help you get some raw feelings out, some raw takes out that you can then look at, feel out, and then move towards the funny. Well, here's how I feel about it. I feel disgusted. Here's why. Because I pay taxes too. Here's what would make it more ridiculous. What if all the politicians had to be in the fight? Now I've got something to go off of to move towards the funny. And I'll move towards key number 2 in a second. But I'm curious, Scott, if you have any thoughts on this first key.
I do. I like your process because it really sort of it's almost woo-woo. It's almost like I'm always approaching comedy from a very scientific standpoint and very much about breaking down the component elements and thinking of it as a math equation. But your method is it feels more like what was that space movie with Matthew McConaughey where he traveled through time? I always forget the name of the movie.
Yeah, the Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Someone's going to tell us in chat. I can't.
Yes.
Interstellar!
Thank you.
Interstellar.
Thank you. Always can't pick the names of movies out of my head. But the idea that you think about, what do I think about it? What do I feel about it? It's like you're surrounding your brain to get thoughts on an idea. Then you let yourself kind of do the stream of consciousness brainstorming.
Right.
Like after you felt and thought, then you start to pour out the stream of consciousness, and there's some kind of magic spark that happens that elicits more interesting ideas than if you had just gone in like me, like the comedy scientist, and tried to do it mechanically. So I like that. I like this a lot.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, so my second key builds on those same elements that you're identifying here, Scott. And sort of the feelings, the emotions, even the woo-woo of it, right? My second key is write about what you care about when you can. Okay, so Jamie said in chat a little bit ago, like, I don't care about the UFC thing. It's like, I'll come back to that. And we're back to it now. Write about what you care about when you can. Okay, so what do I mean? First of all, I'm going to address the when you can part of it. So there's been times for me in my career, I'm sure for Scott in your career, we're on a job, we're on a gig, we're being paid to be professional satirists, we have a boss, we have a whatever, and they say, look, we need material right now about the UFC fight on the White House lawn. Okay, so we gotta come up with something. And I would use a process for me similar to what I was talking about in the first key. But if you're not in that position, and if you're in a position where you have some freedom and some flexibility, I'd like to offer up a key, a tool in approaching satire with allowing yourself the freedom to write about the stuff you care about and not necessarily forcing yourself to write about stuff that you don't have a strong feeling or a strong opinion on. If I'm, head writing, directing a Second City show on their main stage in Chicago, I've got a group of writer performers there, and we're creating new material. I learned in that position that even if something is dominating the news, the war in Iran is dominating the news today. If nobody in my writer's room has personal, strong feelings about that issue, it's harder to get to great comedy. I'm not saying it can't be done. You have tools like what I just showed in the first key to help us get there. But it always seemed to flow a little better when we were able to grab onto strong feelings, point of view that somebody in the room has, and let that be a guide. Maybe they don't feel really strongly about the Iran stuff, but they feel really strongly about the algae in the reflecting pool. That's another thing happening in national news today, right? Is it as important in the grand scheme of things? Of course not. But if you've got a stronger take on that, a stronger feeling, well, let's follow that. So I'd like to offer up that, writing about what you care about when you can be helpful in satire. Another quick exercise for us. Let's get a little list going. What are issues in the world that you care about? Now, sometimes I do this myself when I'm embarking on a new writing project, a new show that I'm writing. I almost always do this at the beginning of a process with the writer's room. I'll say, let's get a list going. Day one, first thing. People in this room, we're going to be writing satire together. What do we care about? And I don't want us to feel obligated, if we can avoid it. I don't want us to feel obligated to write about stuff just because it's in the news if we don't care about it. Again, sometimes you have to. But, right, so here's a bunch of stuff coming in chat right now that you care about. The earth, wealth disparity, housing costs, presidential grifting, medical incompetence, pollution. Stuff that you actually personally do care about. AI and climate change, data centers. And it may seem obvious, but making a list like this for yourself, maintaining a list like this for yourself as a satirist can be a really useful thing to have, to reference, to go to work off of as a starting point. These are mostly political, and I know I've been bringing up political issues, but some social issues in here too, like mental health care I see in here. Everyone is on Ozempic, I see in here. Good. That's a quick next exercise for us here together. I'd like to encourage you writers to pick one of these that you see in chat. Pick one. Probably yours, but maybe someone else wrote one that you were like, I feel strongly about that. Pick one that really jumps out at you, that you're feeling some emotion about. I want to see if we could do a very short, about 60-second rant on the page about the one you chose. I am a believer in, an endorser of, a user of, a teacher of free write as a comedy tool, and rant is one of many types of free write that I think can help us, in this case, better understand our point of view. Get some raw material. So when I say rant, I just mean for 60 seconds, pick one of these issues, like I see the failure of U.S. education, and just go off about it. Here's why I'm so mad about the failure of U.S. education. I can't believe that these schools are so bad and they're crumbling and the teachers are awful and nothing's funded. Just go off on it for like 60 seconds. I will ask for volunteers at the end of the 60 seconds to drop these in chat. Okay, we'll stop talking so you can do that. 60-second rant, go for it. Okay, we'll wrap up on this. Make this your last sentence, whatever it is. If you'd be willing to share your rant with us, drop it in chat. Here's the first one coming in from Marsha. Money's supposed to trickle down on the rest of us from a bunch of people who've been super lucky and ended up with most of the money that there is, and then they get power because they have that money, and lo and behold, the tiny bit of money the rest of us have starts to trickle up to them instead, even though they're claiming that would never happen. Yeah, good. The state of, here Mark says, the state of the USA's education system is both funny and infuriating. It's as those people are proud of their ignorance, yet they don't see the danger in that. Outsourcing your thinking to those who have an agenda that is not beneficial to you. Why would you do that? Is having 53 flavors of ice cream more important than understanding what's going on in the world? Dominic says, we're encouraged to go to college, but it's so damn expensive. We graduate with more debt than our degree can earn us. If we're expected to go to college, it should be more affordable. Great. There's a fun ton more coming in. So what is this rant? What are these rants that I'm reading? It's opportunity. It's a fleshing out of your point of view. And again, I am suggesting that for good satire, we want to have a take. We want to know your point of view that's different than anybody else's point of view. We want to know what is your angle. And this exercise of grabbing something that you care about, and even in just a 60-second rant, getting some thoughts and feelings, can begin a creative process that continues from here, that ultimately lead you to your satiric take that is rooted in your voice and your point of view. You're going to get to funny at the end of your process. But like this rant material that's here right now, this could be molded and shifted into a character monologue. This could be molded and shifted into a jump cut social media POV video. This could be molded into a sketch. This could be molded into a satiric article. I think a challenge for a lot of us as writers is like, as news-based writers, like we see that item in the news and, you know, it can be tough sometimes to go from that. You're staring at a blank page, to go from that to the actual comedy that's been created. So I hope this rant is another tool for you that can get something stirring for you and leads you toward funny at the end of your creative process. All right, so Scott, I'm kind of going even deeper on the dig into your own stuff in this second key. How did that one hit you?
Yeah, I like it. And that's a tool I use a lot is the free write. And when it comes to satire, it usually results from the satirist being really bothered by something in politics or in real life that they really need to communicate to people. And you do that through subtext usually, and that's the best satire. But how do you get there? You don't start with subtext because that's a very calm and a very restrained way to communicate an idea. if you have a lot of passion about something, that rant, that free write is kind of like when you're really pissed off at somebody at work,
Hmm.
you write a really mean email to them and then you delete it. You don't send that email. You write a second email that's very high EQ and says, "Oh, that must have been my fault. I'm so sorry. I didn't, you do it the politic way." And that's a trick that I often use when writing satire. You do a brain dump of everything that's bothering you and write that angry email. And don't worry, somebody made a comment about how it's just a lot of vitriol and like what good is it? Oh my God, it's so valuable because what'll happen is you read that later and some of it will strike you as funny. You'd be like, okay, that's a funny way that that is expressed. So when you write your sensible, high EQ article, script, whatever the second phase is, you can latch on to some of those things where you really tapped the funny bone
Yeah.
and finesse them and hone them, so they're more of a work of craft and of art than of just pure bile.
Yeah.
It's a great tip. Great tip.
Agreed. And I think some of that process of moving from news items and raw material through tools like what I'm offering up at these first few keys into more of a finished product will be some of what we're covering in the 4 session masterclass version of
Yeah.
this workshop, how to turn headlines into comedy.
Yeah, let's do a little we're going to do our sponsor ad now before we do my two keys.
Yeah,
Right, Mark?
we are indeed at
Let's do it.
this 4 session satire masterclass, which Scott and I will co-teach together, like we are here tonight. It's going to be with both of us. There will be weekly assignments for you. As Scott mentioned, the masterclass will be in Zoom meeting format. I think webinar is the best format for what we're doing here tonight, presenting these first 4 keys. But as we dive into the masterclass with you, we're going to be in Zoom meeting, which means we can all see each other, all hear each other, gives us a chance to interact with you personally. We will be here live every single Wednesday for the next 4 Wednesdays. It's a 4-week intensive course live at the same time. This webinar started live tonight, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. But if you have to miss one or even all of the sessions, we're going to record them and you'll get the recordings. Within 24 hours of each session, we'll get those to you and you'll have lifetime access to them. We wanted to, share with you like a little bit more information about, what the next keys are. Like, what are we teaching in the master class? 8 keys for me include expanding on issue and take. Key 2, political versus social in terms of satire. Key 3, digging more into the power of free writes. Key 4, unlocking exaggeration. My key 5, writing the opposite of what you believe. My key 6, turning your takes into characters. My key 7, turning your takes into sketch premises. And my key 8, pushing beyond where you're comfortable. Scott, your keys.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about the CNN trap, which I ran into at The Onion a lot. The 5 different voices of current events and political satire. There are only 5, and you have to pick one. How feedback is killing you. Can't wait to talk about that. Curing one-itis, one of the big problems of the satire writer. The format sinkhole, another huge problem a lot of aspiring satire writers suffer from. The 80 straight, 20 funny rule, which is very counterintuitive but super powerful. The filter trick and Horton's number. Very powerful, powerful tool, that last one. These are our 16 keys for current event satire that we'll talk about in the course.
Yeah, and one of the things that we hope will be, special about this satire masterclass is that Scott and I each have a ton of satire experience, a ton of passion for it, a ton of passion for teaching it, and also, slightly different backgrounds, right? Where Scott's going to have a slightly different point of view on some of this than I do. And we hope that will be a benefit to you, right? That we're able to offer up all these tools and you can take the ones that are really clicking for you. One thing that Scott and I have in common, aside from a love of satire, is a love of bonuses. We both love to give bonuses for folks who enroll in our workshop, and we've got tons of bonuses. If you register for our 4-session Satire Masterclass, How to Turn Headlines into Comedy, you're going to get a bunch of extra stuff for free. Scott, tell us about your bonuses, starting with this one.
Yeah, I'm going to give away my comedy business school course, which is an exhaustive video course with 4 modules containing several videos each about how to break into the comedy business, how to manage a career, how to build a career, and make a living doing comedy. And then my How to Write Funny course, which is a specific drill down on how to write funnier satire using the 11 funny filters. And I'm going to give away my 4 How to Write Funny books, and those will be delivered as soon as you sign up for the course. I'm also going to deliver my 4 new How to Write Funny books in the series, which are coming out this year. How to Write Funny Stand-Up, How to Write Funny TV Pilots, How to Write Funny Prose, and How to Write Funny Social Media.
These are fantastic books, and I have writers in our sketch school workshops all the time say, I read Scott's book, I read this book, I learned this tip from Scott, I got this info from Scott. I know that folks I know the value that all this information has. I'm going to throw in some bonuses too. 3 recorded workshops from our archives here at the Sketch School. Here at the Sketch School, we're fully and totally dedicated to online sketch comedy writing training. I'm proud to be the founder of the Sketch School, and I want to send you as part of your bonuses 3 workshop recordings on these topics: finding your comic voice, generating ideas for sketch comedy, and history sketches, exploring history to get to comedy in
But will
sketch.
you be wearing your mustache during the course that we teach?
I don't know if
Is
I
the
can.
question.
I don't know if I can grow it by then, but I'll try.
All right, see what you can do.
I'll see if I can grow it back. It's a tall order. Only a week. Only a week. I'll need some
It's tough.
testosterone injections. um, and Scott, one more bonus. The most exciting bonus of all.
Yeah, the most exciting bonus of all is my new app, the Comedy Mastermind app, which I released in beta as a web app. It'll be in the App Store in a couple of weeks. And the reviews have been rave. People can't believe how valuable this is to bounce ideas off of, to workshop ideas. Um, it basically is my brain in an app that you can chat with. And I'm charging $499 for lifetime access to the app, but I'm giving that away as a bonus for anyone who signs up for this course.
Yeah, that it segues nicely to this next slide, which is all of the bonuses. In total, just the bonuses are over $2,000 of bonus material that will be included in this workshop. And the regular price that we would charge for the workshop itself would be $499, but we want to do a very special offer to those of you who are here with us in sort of the sort of pre-session, the sort of informal first session of it. $199 will be the rate.
That's an incredible deal, Mark. How can we afford to do that? Well,
Well, we want to give everybody great value and hopefully great
yeah.
takeaways and a great time together in this workshop.
That's the link. So yeah, anybody can go there and sign up, and we'd be delighted to see you there.
Scott, Do you want to talk about some keys of your own?
Yeah, let's do it. Uh we're gonna talk about two keys from my perspective, and we'll
Yeah.
see how these are different. And this will be fun. So key number three today is verisimilitude. This is one of the keys that I've used for satire that when it's not used, when you don't employ this key in your satire, the audience doesn't really know consciously that you're not doing it, but they kind of feel like, this isn't that great. But when you use it and use it well, they feel like, okay, this is the stuff. Now I'm in good hands. And so, what is that? How do you create this kind of feeling that gives you just a magic lift to your satire? So, when you do satire, you're usually lampooning people or institutions. They could be political figures, they could be, societal or cultural, uh, icons. They could be, habits that human beings have. They could be traits, but there's almost always something that you're reacting to or making fun of. You're parodying something, or just making fun of something. And when you do that, it's a really great idea to mimic it very close to the original. Use the same voice, play it straight so that, well, here, let me give you the definition of verisimilitude, because it is a big word. Verisimilitude is the appearance of being true, real, or believable. So when Richard Donner made the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve, which is a great movie, and it's still the best Superman movie of all the Superman movies that they've made. And at that time, I think it was 78, superhero movies were pretty campy. You had like the Batman TV series and just really hokey. They made that movie, and Richard Donner, every day on the set, his watchword was verisimilitude. We want verisimilitude because he wanted people to watch that movie and really believe. So, really, for the first time in a superhero movie, believe that this was real and have Christopher Reeve really pretend that he cared about peace, justice, and the American way. And so he said it so earnestly. And that really elevated that movie. And you'll get the same effect if you inject this idea into your political satire. So, what does that look like? Well, in The Onion, it looks like a newspaper or a news website that looks like a real newspaper. When you look at that, you can't tell just by looking at it that it's a joke. Once you start reading it, it's so much funnier than if it were all joked up, with wacky fonts and crazy banners that, hey, it's comedy or whatnot. No, you make it seem like it's real. You make it seem true. Another great example of that was the Colbert Show in the mid 2000s. Those of you who were alive and watching TV when that show was on the air, do you remember what kind of seismic effect that show had on TV and on comedy in general? People just couldn't believe how good it was. It was so much better than The Daily Show that was kind of a spin-off of, because The Daily Show does not use verisimilitude. They're kind of hamming it up and being kind of jokey. But Colbert really pretended like he was a right-wing host of a show. And there were a lot of dopey right-wingers who watched that show and thought he was on their side. They thought he was a real right-wing pundit. And that really elevated the show. It won a ton of Emmys. Mark Twain knows all about this. He's the original American satirist. And he himself said, the humorous story is told gravely. The teller does his best to conceal the fact that he even dimly suspects that there is anything funny about it. And how do you get there? by taking it seriously, by using verisimilitude. And so, Mark, you did a couple of great exercises in your keys, and I want to do that because I said earlier that when you do satire, you're often lampooning a political figure, a cultural institution, whatever it may be. And I want everybody to try just make a little attempt to write some copy, some verbiage. It can be a quote from a political figure. It can be a statement released by a cultural institution. So use piggyback on top of Mark's keys and pick a political figure, a cultural institution, a celebrity that you really care about, that really gets under your skin, and write a sentence as if it's them saying it, and then post that in the chat, and let's see if we can figure out who you're parroting. See if you can get the voice infused with so much verisimilitude that just by looking at what you wrote, we're going to say, oh, I know who that is. My only caveat is don't do Trump, because we've all seen and heard how Trump is, how he talks. And it still has to be done and can be done, but it's too easy. So I want you to pick something else. Now I'm going to unshare for a second so I can see the chat. They don't let me see the chat uh, when I'm sharing. And let's see what we got. Is anybody going to brave this? Who's got a sentence? This is a tough one, isn't it, Mark? I'm challenging people here.
I did see a good uh, example of your key was mentioned by Laura earlier in the chat. She was mentioning War of the Worlds. Not a comedy, but did do such an effective job of staying so close to the original that it
It was
terrified
satire.
the world. Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful satire. They made it sound exactly like what you'd hear on the radio. They adapted, what was a novel into a fake radio news show
Right.
to make it seem real. So it was a prank, it was a prank that worked out great. Uh, all right, we got some attempts coming in here. This is pretty good. Screwworms cause autism, but only when served raw. I recommend serving them with a side of bison gut. I think I know who that's supposed to be. Let me try it here, right? Screwworms cause autism, but only when served raw. I recommend serving them with a side of bison gut. Did I get that right? Did I get it right?
I see a ding, ding, ding in the chat, so I think that means you got it right.
So that's good. That means that Richard nailed verisimilitude. Good job. This is the first dramatic acting role you've taken on. A lot of people are praising your work in this film. What's your bra size? Boy, who do you think that is, Mark? I think maybe Charlie Rose.
Sure. Yes, I could see that.
Okay, that's my guess. Um, okay, so here's a really interesting one from Chelsea. Fourscore and just yesterday, our founding fathers rolled over in their graves because babies got a new reflecting pool. So at first I was thinking, well, that's Lincoln, right? Because it's fourscore and just yesterday. It's like Lincoln speaking from the grave. But then I felt like the verisimilitude was broken in the end, because babies got a new reflecting pool.
Mm-hmm.
I Lincoln wouldn't say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Verisimilitude is using Lincoln's actual language, which is a very distinctive language and funny when you mimic it and try to duplicate it. And yeah, when he's talking about Trump and the Ultimate Fighting Championship ring, like you've got great potential for satire there. Uh, all right, that's fun. Here's another one. I'm not autistic, I'm rich. I now own autism and space to build trains into space. Elon, great job, Danny.
Great.
Good work, everybody. You're getting it. You're getting it. Where? Oh, I see what's happening. To get back to my keynote, I actually have to take it out of full screen mode. Otherwise, it won't let me share. So I'm going to get back into it for a second here. There we go. All right. So let's move on to key 4, shall we? And that is build a team. And this is super important because a lot of people try to do comedy and they try to do political or social satire, particularly by themselves. And this is extremely difficult. There are a handful of people in history who have been able to do it, like Mark Twain, like Douglas Adams. It is not the norm. And those two had editors at publishing houses. So, in effect, they did have a team. But I'm going to encourage you to think of a team as like a way to, like, let's say that you don't see very well. What do? You get glasses. When you're doing satire by yourself, you're not, it's like you have, you know, 70-10 vision. Like you need a team to see better. And don't go out driving with 70-10 vision without your glasses. Don't try to write satire without a team. Look at some of the great social satire and political satire that have been created by teams. Great stuff like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, The Simpsons, Last Week Tonight, John Oliver. These people are maybe one person or maybe two people. One person in John Oliver and one person in Matt Groening on The Simpsons. A team of 3 people and It's Always Sunny. But they hold meetings and they reach out and they audition people and they get packets from people and they hire a team. Begonia, South Park, The Menu, Succession. Some great satire from recent years, all powered by incredible teams. I would be hard pressed to find any great satire that is not written by a team. So don't try to beat the odds. Don't try to be the 1 in a million exception. Do it the easy way and get a team. Now I'm doing a little bit of a humble brag here because I chose all of these examples because every single one of these shows had in their staff, and in many cases had as an executive, someone who used to work on my team. Megan Gans was an executive producer on Always Sunny. I hired her right out of college to write for The Onion. The Menu and Begonia were both written by Will Tracy, who was my intern at The Onion. Dan Weber, who I hired straight out of college, is now the executive producer of The Simpsons. I've had several former people from my team work on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. So if you sign up for our course, you're going to get to work with me directly. What a great opportunity that is. So take my advice, build a team. Whether you take our course or not, build a team. Now, I give that advice, but then you may be thinking, well, how can I afford a team? I'm not a big network show. How do I find a team? Legitimate question. Great question. Where and how do you find your team? Well, to answer that question, I go back to when I was starting out and I didn't have any money and I didn't have a big, comedy brand that was famous that attracted people to come and want to work for me. I still put together teams. I had teams in high school. I had my cohorts and my buddies that would do comedy projects with me. Well, what if you're not in college or high school? Where do you find people? What if you live in the middle of nowhere? It's a legitimate question. So here are a few great ways that you can find people. You can go to a comedy school. You can go to a comedy training center. Most big cities have them. You can go to comedy clubs, meet other comedians. You can join online groups of comedy writers, the Writers Room, which Tam and I facilitate every week, which, by the way, I'm giving as a bonus. We didn't even list it because it comes packaged with the Comedy Business School course, but it's a lifetime membership to the Writers Room, which is really an incredible opportunity to workshop and get feedback on your work. These are 4 great ways to build your team. And I am going to throw one more tip out there, and that is, let's say you don't live in a big city, you don't have a comedy school. Let's say you're an introvert and you just don't want to go hang out at comedy clubs and meet people and try to convince people to be on your team. One of the great ways to build a team is the Field of Dreams way, and that is build it and they will come. If you start doing satire and you do it well by using all of Mark's and our 16 keys, you're going to build exceptional satire. And in whatever format you decide to distribute it, whether it's, a blog or whether it's on stage or maybe it's, videos, if it's exceptional, this world that we live in today is a meritocracy. People will find it. Again, if you're implementing all 16 keys, and when you do that, you will be hounded by people who want to be a part of it. People are going to be sending you submissions. They're going to be sending you letters. Please, can I be a part of what you're doing? I love what you're doing. Please let me help. I'll work for free. This is what happened to me when I started doing The Onion in the middle of nowhere. And for the first couple issues, we were begging our friends to write for it. It's like, hey, would somebody please help us? But then as soon as we got rolling and we started building an audience, people just swarmed us. So build it and they will come. And then I want to do one more thing before we get to the questions. Again, in the spirit of making this webinar interactive and give you guys some real value so you can get a sense of what the full masterclass is going to be like, I want to invite you all to post in the chat just a quick sentence about what you're working on and what you dream of working on when it comes to political satire. Is it a publication? Is it a sketch series? Is it like a social media account? Whatever it is, just a quick sentence in the chat to say what it is, and then your contact info. There's how many people are in here, Tam? Around 200 people? That's a,
108.
yeah, that's a good amount of people. So throw it out there. And if somebody likes the thing that you're working on, they can reach out to you, and now you're getting somewhere. Now you're getting to the point where you're drawing people to you because they like what you're doing, and you can start building a team. Mark, I wanted to chime in with you before we go to questions and see if you had any thoughts on my 2 keys.
I just absolutely love that second key of, building a team. And I think some of like John Oliver was one of the shows that you mentioned, Scott. And I think some of those shows where it's sort of feels like a solo show, whether it's a late night show or John Oliver, or it's Desi Lydic or Jon Stewart at the update desk, or Samantha Bee's, when her satiric show was on. Like, we see that one person on our screen, and we are attached and attracted to and loving their comic voice, but it's easy to forget there's a writer's room back there. There's a writer's room back there, right? That person is heading up that writer's room. The writer's room is but they're working with a team all week long. So even when we're seeing those folks that kind of seem like solo satirists to us on those shows, they're there with a group. It's so important.
Yeah, and even in stand-up, you could argue that that's one person and they write their own material and they're going up there and it's just them. That's not how stand-up works. Anybody who knows how stand-up works, their writing room, their writer's room is the audience at the stand-up clubs where
Right.
they try out material, test material. They're
Right.
getting constant feedback from the audience. Oh, that worked. That didn't work. Okay, I will stop doing that, but I'm going to do more of this because that worked. And that's a back and forth that a good comic will do for a year to develop an hour-long act that you then see in a comedy special and you think, oh my God, they're just a solo genius, you know? No,
Right.
there's a team, always a team. So, Caitlin, you got the right idea. Put your contact information in the chat, everybody. If you posted what you're doing but didn't put your contact info before, just post it again and throw your contact in at the end.
Yeah. And I'm gonna use this moment to pop up this one more time too, because for those of you who are going to join us for the master class, you're going to be in 4 sessions in a Zoom meeting where we are going to interact and with each other. Everyone who's in that workshop, you're going to be in that for 4 weeks live with other folks that you know are like-minded, right? That are also interested in satire, that are also interested in news fakes comedy. It's a chance to connect. And I just want to underline what you were saying about online being an option, because everything we do, at Sketch School is totally online. I know, Scott, what you're doing is online, and we see, and it's so cool and so rewarding. We see people meet in our rooms, meet in our workshops, meet in our events, and make connections, and someone's in Chicago and someone's in London and someone's in South Carolina, and they launch their own sketch comedy YouTube that then takes off. Like, we see people make those connections and build those relationships in these rooms, and it's super, super cool.
Yeah, and it's so rewarding when you see somebody in your team pop off.
Yes.
We've got people who come to the writer's room and they're coming for weeks and they're just trying out material and they're seeing if it works. And then one of them gets hired to be the head writer of a sketch show on Netflix. One of them just now blowing up on social media with a new concept, an idea that he came up with, habits for lazy people. And he's getting hundreds of thousands of views now. And it's because he built an informal team where he presented all his stuff to us in the writer's room and for feedback, showed us his work in progress and got feedback on that. It's so wonderful to be able to support other people's success because you're just going to get it back from them.
Yeah. And to you can't develop in a vacuum, right?
Nope.
You can't develop in a vacuum. This is, I want to pop up the website one more time, sketchschool.com/satire. If you'd like more info on the 4 session satire masterclass that Scott and I will be teaching together starting 1 week from tonight for the next 4 Wednesdays live. All the recordings are available too. And Scott, I saw Diane asked in the chat, will you guys do this again if I can't make this one? I mean, the honest answer is we don't know that we'll ever do this again. This may be the one and only time, that both of our schedules match up and that this works out for us to do it. So that a reminder that recordings are available if you can't be there live for all of them or any of them. You can still enroll and get those recordings
Yeah, and
forever.
you'll have the writer's room bonus too, so you can show up every week and present your work and get feedback on it. So that's it's you're tapping into a real resource here. And so I wouldn't put it off. I wouldn't put it off. Let's take some questions.
Yeah.
Tam, has anybody submitted any question that you can
Yeah.
recite to us and we'll see if it's a good one?
Yes, absolutely. First, I did want to just give a couple answers for some of the ones that I can answer.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Um, One is that they asked, our comments won't show up in the YouTube replay, will they? We don't want to put our emails in there. They will not. This is just going to be a recording of the video portion only. And
Correct.
then somebody asked, what is the writer's room format that's being offered? So when we talk about the writer's room, we're talking about the weekly-ish How to Write Funny Writer's Room. And the format is a Zoom meeting where we run it like an open mic. And so everyone gets like 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how many people sign up. And you get to share your material and then get feedback from people in the room, including Scott.
And
So
it's
that's,
either written, performed, videoed, audioed, any kind of format for
mhm.
comedy. Sometimes people bring stuff that isn't even really comedy, but we'll critique it.
Yeah,
And you learn so much by doing the by presenting it and getting feedback. You learn so much.
agreed. And you can bring whether you're writing a sketch or a movie or a script or stand up or poetry or whatever it is that is in the realm of comedy, it counts in there. So
Yeah.
whatever you're working on, it could be shorts you're trying to grow your YouTube channel or your TikTok. So anything that is funny. So those are the ones that I could answer that were related to comedy. And
Okay.
then I'm going to start at the top with the questions. So Mr. Humility writes, can we talk about bogging down in the rewrite process? That's where I have trouble in shutdown.
Can you say that one more time, Tam?
Can we talk about bogging down in the rewrite process?
Yeah. So it can happen. You can start spinning your wheels and you're just kind of changing things, then changing them back, or you're losing your way or whatever. And it's too much to get into here, but I advise certain touch points through the process where you check in with your group, with your team to get feedback at certain points. At the concept stage, get feedback. Then go with something, run with it. At the first draft stage, get feedback. Pick, what's working, what isn't. Do one or two revisions, then get feedback again. Make it final. Don't be so precious about it. And if it's a video or production after that, then shoot it, get feedback on the rough draft, the rough edit, and then get feedback on the final. Um, if you're bogged down, basically you're spending too much time doing it, and that's a recipe for not getting anywhere fast. Finish it, do your best, and then get right to work on the next project. That's super important. That's how you learn, that's how you get better.
Yeah,
I
You
would
nice.
got one?
I agree with that, and also recommend it. Always recommend it. It's like gotta get feedback, and that even if it's just sending to a friend, send it right. Like it doesn't have to mean that it's up on stage in front of 300 people, but just getting some takes on it. I strongly agree with. And another one that I think can be helpful in the rewrite process is if you are allowed the time. Sometimes we're working on deadline, but like if you're allowed the time to put it away for a minute, to
Totally.
just not look at it for 3 days, not look at it for a week if you can, and then come back to it with fresh eyes. And that can unblock you if you're starting to get blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's see what else we've got. Scott, this is for you specifically. Scott, you mentioned you have a more scientific approach to comedy. Is that something you could describe shortly?
No, it's in all my books, though, which we're giving away free as a bonus if you sign up for the course. It basically has to do with subtext and the 11 funny filters, and there's a few other best practices as well. That's the best I got, Tam.
Okay, that's fair enough.
You mean you're
Read the
not going to
book.
list an algebra formula of comedy right here, right now,
There,
Scott?
there is a formula, but it would be too there would be too it would be too confusing because nobody knows what the value of x is, and there's so many. What do you call that in algebra when it's the x? What is that called? It has a name
Oh,
in
you're
mathematics.
asking the
Variable?
wrong person.
Yeah, there's
I think it's a variable.
too many variables in the equation to make sense.
Thank you, Tam.
Yeah, read the book, y'all. Read the book or listen to it on audio. There's a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
could listen to
material
the book.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's see. What if your point of view is the same as a lot of people's points of view? Try to represent it in a new, more compelling way.
Go
Go
first,
ahead,
Scott.
Mark.
Yeah. No, we both are jumping at it. Go ahead. Go
Okay, so yeah,
ahead.
so I want to throw out the name Josh Johnson, a comedian who you may have
Yeah.
seen. He's a host, one of the rotating hosts on The Daily Show. He is known for one thing, and that is he comes up with every possible angle he can on a political or current events issue so that he can look at a giant list of angles and then decide, okay, what's the most unique? What's the one that no one else is using? And what's the one that jives kind of with my sense of humor? And that's what, makes him such a successful comedian. He's incredible with his prolific specials that he puts on YouTube, and it's what got him hired on the Daily Show. I would recommend that for everybody. Like, don't just come up with your first idea and say, okay, this is my take. I guess it's like everybody else's. Yeah, your first idea usually is like everybody else's. You got to write a bunch of different takes or angles and then zero in on the one that feels really unique.
Agreed. And I know that some of the keys that we're going to be looking at them in the full master class connect to that, right? Like one of mine is pushing beyond your first idea. And it's exactly the type of stuff that you're touching on here, Scott, of like, okay, what else? And what else? And how else? And where else can I come at this? I think some of this is about having tools in your toolbox as a writer that you can go to that help you create 5 takes on it, 10 takes on it, 15 takes on it, and push past your one initial.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, next question. Once you've written some really good satire, where would you send it? I used to write for the National Lampoon, but they're long gone.
Well, I would
Just a,
publish it yourself. You can do that on Substack, you can do that on Medium or just social media. Um, and as part of the Comedy Business School, I send out a list of all the comedy publications that pay for submissions that they accept. So there's that. Mark, did you have suggestions where people can go? While you do that, I'm going to log out and log back in because I lost the ability to type. So something's screwed up. I'll be right
okay.
back. I'll be
Okay.
right back.
Okay. Return to us, Scott. Of course, when I'm teaching at the sketch school, we're so focused on sketch comedy, but there are tremendous opportunities in sketch comedy on social media right now, right? People are building their own social media sketch comedy brands. They're building their own comedy brands on social. They're making money doing it. They're quitting their jobs. They're able to do this for a living. It's a real path with no, it's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but it's a real path with no gatekeepers. And I think that is so exciting right now. So it's something I always encourage as well. Scott, can you type?
Yeah, I think I'm back up and running.
Okay, good.
All
All
right.
right.
Next question. What is the difference between satire, satirizing people's or movements' foibles, and just mocking people or movements, etc.? I'm watching a hilarious Billy Wilder movie called 1, 2, 3, and it's mocking both fat-headed communist in East Berlin and an American rich CEO in West Berlin. But is it satirizing them or just mocking them for their beliefs? Is
It,
there a difference?
it's a great question. It comes back to me for me it comes back to my keys that I was talking about tonight. Is there a point of view? Is there a clear, specific point of view that is coming through in the comedy? Do the writers have that? I think there's a difference between news-based comedy and news-based satire. Uh, Jay Leno, for example, when he was host of the Tonight Show, he would do lots of jokes about things that happened in the news that day. There were jokes and humor about it, but they didn't necessarily have a satiric point of view on it. So I think that's what we're looking for. Did the writers have something specific to say? Did they have an opinion? If so, then it's satire. Uh, Scott, do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree. There is a fine line between comedy and satire. Comedy is just funny, but it doesn't have a message. It doesn't have anything to say really about society or about the world or about what could be better. That's what makes satire different and special. Um, and Billy Wilder is one of the best. So,
Mm-hmm.
keep watching the Billy Wilder movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've never even heard of that movie. I'm going to have to check it out.
He's got a ton.
Next question. What is a way to remain sensitive about hot button topics while still poking fun at it? Are there things that should always be off limits or good rules to use?
I'm interested, Scott, in your answer on this. I know what my standard answer is on this question, which comes up a lot.
I'm eager to
Uh,
hear it. Yeah,
uh,
so no, I think there's nothing off limits. Nothing is off
yeah.
limits. Like you can talk about anything and you get to decide, how edgy you want to be. You get to decide how offensive or inoffensive you want to be. That's all totally up to you. For now, technically, we have freedom of speech in this country. If you're in Tehran, I saw someone in the chat earlier here today from Tehran. You got a little bit of a constraint there, similar in China, where you really can't do everything you want satirically. But here, go nuts. So, and then the sort of standard that I use for like what's crossing a line, so to speak, is if you're punching down or licking up, that feels wrong. You want to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So lift up and punch up and lift from down. What do you got, Mark?
I agree with all of that. I think that, you know, what feels like too much to you may not feel like too much to someone else. We're hopefully all going to find our audiences. Both SNL and South Park satirize President Trump. SNL takes it this far. South Park goes way farther, right? So it's like what feels like too far to SNL doesn't feel too far to South Park. So I think it's subjective, and I think you got to find what feels right to you. One really quick story. Like when I first got hired at Second City and I started as a writer actor there, I went in literally to like pick up my paperwork, like to fill out, take this home and fill out the forms and bring them back. So I went in and one of the current cast members, then Jerry Minor, who was later on SNL, is in the office in a heated conversation with someone on the phone. I thought, huh. I took my paperwork. I come back 4 hours later. I filled it all out. Here it is. He's still there in that same spot in that same conversation. And I'm new, but I'm like, who's he talking to all this time? Because it's like intense. He's like, oh, he's talking to an audience member who came to the show last night because Jerry's was in a sketch that was a really strong, socially satiric sketch. The audience member called up, didn't agree with the point of view, and Jerry had been in there at that point for 4 hours talking to this person about it. But the reason this really stood out to me is because I felt like I learned a lesson that day, which is like, I can say, I'm lucky enough here where I live to be able to say anything I want to say in my comedy. But I should understand that I need to be in a position where I believe in it enough to defend it if people challenge me on it. And I think that's always kept me feeling a certain responsibility about what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, and do I really believe in it? If I'm just doing it for shock value or to get a reaction for the audience, but I don't believe in it, I shouldn't be doing it. I gotta stand by it. I gotta stand behind it. I gotta believe in it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's so many people now are worried about um, getting canceled or, causing a stir or, offending people. And the thing is, like, in the modern age, the audience has a voice. They have a seat at the table because they can put comments on the stuff. It didn't used to be like that before the internet. You'd
Right.
make your show, you'd put it out there, and maybe you'd get letters. The network would get letters. Now it's like they're right there. And they're like, this sucks. I hated everything about this or whatever. That's just the reality that we live in. Like, I wouldn't take it too seriously. You got to be true to what you believe and want to do. And if you ever think you're going too far, if anything's striking you as like, I don't know about this, just look at what South Park is doing. Look at what Eric Andre is doing and ask yourself, am I going that far? You're probably not. And again, just comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable, and you're usually in pretty safe territory.
Good advice. Good advice. Next question. I'm new to writing and looking to working on Scott Dicker's book, How to Write Funny. funnier, and funniest? Is it better to join this Zoom course after I become familiar with writing funny?
Scott, what saith you?
Well, I mean, it'll be too late unless you can be like Neo in the Matrix and just download those books into your brain in the next week. Um, yeah, that's up to you. I think you're going to have lifetime access to the videos of the course, so I wouldn't worry about it. And like Mark said, probably not going to do it again.
Yeah, this may be it. We'll
Yeah.
Yeah,
see. We'll see. We're both got so much on the schedule always, right?
I know you both stay busy. The next question is about that, actually. Are there any upcoming sketch writing classes?
Oh, Mark's got those up the wazoo.
Yeah, we've always got some coming up at thesketchschool.com. Thesketchschool.com/workshops is where all our upcoming workshops are listed. And so plenty of sketch writing always coming. And maybe you do too, Scott. I'm not.
I mean, I'm putting together a bunch of courses for my new um, How to Write Funny website, which has been in need of a kind of 2.0 for, I don't know, a good 12 years. So yeah, we'll have sketch courses on there for sure.
Okay, good stuff. Next question. Echoing Nina in the chat, will you teach us how to pitch?
Oh, that's interesting.
In this course, this isn't a course about pitching. That said, I'm thinking through the bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Comedy Mastermind app, it's so funny you asked that because in the testing, so I have a whole theory about pitching, and there's a lecture I used to do pretty regularly at Second City on pitching, how to pitch your ideas. It's a very
Yeah.
popular lecture. And of course, the app is trained on that. So I asked the app, how do I pitch my ideas? And the answer was beautiful. It was exactly what I would have said. So, you're going to get a lot of that knowledge just from one of the many bonuses from signing up for this course. So the short answer, I guess, would be yes.
Okay, good
Yeah.
stuff. Next question. Can we sign up if we can't attend on Wednesday nights and watch it later? I won't be available.
Yes, you can. We will send you all the recordings. You get to keep them forever. And I know in my workshops at the Sketch School, I always do a recorded option. I teach live here on Zoom typically and recorded, and probably about a third of the writers that are enrolled in each workshop will be there live always. About a third will be there live and watch some of the recordings, and about a third, take the full workshop via recordings, and that's their experience of it, and we try to design these classes, and Scott and I are too, to work for you whether you're there live or watching us back later.
Yeah, good
Okay.
answer, Mark. Tam, can I just interject and answer Andrew's question here about, because I don't know if it's in the Q&A. Do you find writing comedy as a job slash for a boss versus for yourself change the way you felt about comedy, or at least do you find big differences in the two?
Mm.
Just really quickly, I just wanted to throw out an answer for that one because I have almost always been my own boss, but there have been a few times where I've worked on a show. I worked on a TV show for a couple different shows, and then I was hired back at the Onion after I had sold it. It was owned by different people, so they were my boss, which is like a couple of years or whatever. And I hated so much working for someone else, having a boss. That's why all of my former like interns and writing staff are working on all those shows, but I'm not because I really prefer to write my own. I'd rather write my own novel and self-publish it on Amazon than to work for the most popular show and have a boss. I just don't like it. It does change me because then it's like, well, what's my passion? Am I really speaking my passion or am I just writing what someone else wants?
Yeah. It's some of that is just like who we are as people and artists, right? It's I've been
Yeah.
lucky enough to be in the position for, the last few years where I pretty much am always doing my own thing. And I'm going to be head writer and director of this charity celebrity variety show in my hometown of Detroit in the fall
Awesome.
called The Coney. We just officially announced it today, The Coney. And so, like, I was in a Zoom meeting this afternoon with one of the well-known athletes, representatives that are going to be part of the event, and I'm writing material for that, and I'm writing material for them, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not used to this. Like there's a box that they want me to write in that these are the things that that person would be excited to do, and it's maybe not what I would pitch for them or come up with. And it's for me, it's like it's a little bit of six on one, half a dozen the other. On one hand, I kind of don't like feeling constrained in that way. On the other hand, it kind of an interesting challenge of like, can I as a writer jump through these specific hoops of, okay, they can rehearse for this long on this day and like to do this bit in this way. All right, let me see if I can navigate that obstacle course. We'll find out in September.
Um, yeah, that's really interesting, Mark. It really is a different thing to work for yourself versus for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I find just psychically. Tam, why don't you get us caught up with the questions? Sorry, I wanted to
Yeah.
interject before that one disappeared.
No worries, no worries. So, question, how long is the sale slash bonuses available?
That's a great question. Until Friday night, the sale price will be on offer. We're going to send some follow-up emails with that information. And then so it'll go back up to full price, the $4.99 between like Saturday and when the course starts.
Okay. And for the people that are asking about the Comedy Mastermind app, it's not in the Apple Store just yet, but it will be. But there is a link in the chat. If you go to comedymastermind.com, you can sign up for that app.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank-
Yep. Question. I am currently in the second city satire for the internet course, and it's
Okay.
great, though this one sounds much more involved. Will you do this one again?
Oh yeah, that was Diane's question, right? Yeah, I think that we don't know that we will. So
Yeah.
join us if you can, starting live next Wednesday, or if you're interested and want to make sure you got material on these topics we're going to be covering, you can always enroll. You'll get all the recordings. You'll be able to keep the workshop recordings forever.
Good
True.
deal.
True.
Next question. Is the class focused more on SNL type news sketches or prose pieces?
Well, that's the beauty of this masterclass is that you can apply what the principles that we're going to convey about current event satire to whatever medium you like to work in, because the fundamentals are the same.
That's right.
Mark, you have more
Nope,
insight
just
on that? Because we're
agree. I like. I
yeah.
mean, I think like the tools that we were looking at today, they're tools to get you started. They're tools to help you focus your satire writing. They're keys that will help you to better understand satire, and we will talk a little bit about where you will could go with them for next steps. But we're deliberately keeping this whole workshop in a space where you can take these tools and go where you would like to go with them comedically to reach all these great goals that folks have been listing in chat here.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question. How do you feel about the future of comedy in traditional formats like TV and film as opposed to the breakout of social media shorts and skits?
Mark?
I feel great about all of it. I mean, I feel like wherever we can get stuff made, let's do it. I was saying, Scott, when you hopped out for a second due to that typing issue, I was talking about the opportunities available to us in sketch world with social media now, and that you can reach our audiences and build our audiences directly. So I think that's super exciting. I also think that, my friend Tim Robinson's Netflix sketch show is super exciting too, right? I mean, I think wherever we can get our voice out there, get stuff sold, made, seen by an audience, get paid to do it, the more mediums, the better.
Couldn't agree more. One thing that people worry about, I think, now is isn't there too much content there's so many TV networks, there's so much social media. Like, aren't I just going to get lost in this sea of stuff? And what you got to realize is, yes, there is a lot more comedy material being produced now, but remember that the number of people producing comedy and putting it out there, let alone of quality, pales in comparison to the number of people who want it. And they consume it a lot faster than we can make it. So wherever you go, wherever you put it, like there's the potential to tap into an enormous audience, and you're never going to run out of audience. Like it's literally just an unfathomable size. So don't let that worry you, if that is a worry.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is a question about when we were talking about teams earlier. Is the team made up of different roles or a team of all writers slash creators?
Well, since that was my key,
Sure.
I'll throw this in there. My third book in the How to Write Funny series, How to Write Funniest, is all about how to work within a team and how to structure a team. And it talks all about the roles and the best practices for that. And that's all my best stuff on it. So I would recommend that book.
Okay.
If you don't want to take the course, the book, the Kindle is like, I don't know, $8 or something.
Yeah. Anything you want to add there, Mark?
I would also recommend that book.
Oh, thanks, Mark.
Okay, cool. What about from Mark Eggins? Would you ever recommend writing a satirical novel?
Would I recommend it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody on this call should write a book, and you should figure out what that book is. Yeah, satirical novel is a great choice. Why wouldn't you write
Yeah.
a satirical novel? It's the funnest thing in the world to do. So rewarding.
Yeah. Mark, anything you want to say?
Yeah. If you're excited about it and that moves you creatively, go, go, go. Absolutely.
Yeah, follow your creativity, right? Follow the funny. Follow
Yep.
your inspiration.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brian McCarthy's on the webinar here, or he was a moment ago. He was in my Project Everest program where I walk people through writing a novel, and he's almost done with his satirical novel.
Awesome.
Very exciting. I'm super excited
Hmm.
about it. It's a good one.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Oh, actually, before I answer it, if you have questions, could you please ask them to the Q&A part so I can make sure we get them answered, because the chat just jumps around too much. So the next question is, can you speak to the Onion's fellowship program and what that submission process entails?
Scott, that
I
one's
can. Yeah, I
you.
mentioned Megan Gans a moment ago, who was an executive producer on It's Always Sunny. She was our very first Onion Fellow,
Hmm.
and it was a program that I started at the Onion, which was a way to bring students who are still in college, working at their college humor publication, to just come and be at the Onion for like 3 months and just observe, maybe be a part of things. And then after that fellowship, we hired her. But typically, you want to check the Onion's website because they list when they're doing the fellowship. They still do the fellowship, and uh, their directions for what to submit are in that listing whenever they list it. And it's typically like 15 headlines, like news headlines, some editorial headlines, and then a couple, three news and briefs. But then the part they don't tell you about that's really important is have a resume that's packed with comedy.
Mm,
You do stand up,
Hmm.
you do sketch, you've made a comedy movie, you've written a comedy book, and also they want 15 headlines. Please write 500 of them and pick the 15 best. Don't just write 15 headlines, you'll never get in. And that's my best advice on the Onion Fellowship.
okay, good stuff. Next question. Any advice for performers who want to start writing comedy for themselves?
Well,
Mark?
yeah. I mean, two things. First of all, if you're feeling it, as an artist, as a creator, like I want to start, I would say, first of all, just start. Like whatever it is that you feel moved to start to write, I would say to start to write. And then, second, at the risk of feeling, sounding incredibly, self-serving. I mean, whether it's with me and Scott, or one of us, or both of us, or neither of us, or a different institution, when you're honing in on what it is you think that you want to learn, I would look at classes at workshops. I would look at finding your people. There are shortcuts available already that people have gone before you, have learned and know, that can save you time on the journey. So, I would look at that stuff for sure. And but I wouldn't let that hold you back from just, even if you're not there yet, just starting to create on your own. And then finally, I would say, immersing in whatever it is that you're excited about. If you're really excited about writing for late night, really immersing in that, watching that stuff, taking it all in. If you're really excited about a certain type of sketch comedy, immersing in that, watching that stuff, trying to write in that style, taking it all in, really going hard in the direction that you feel like you want to go artistically. Scott.
I got nothing to add. The perfect answer. I agree.
Right. Next question slash comment. I've never been funny because I've spent my life as a newspaper op-ed writer and journalist, but I'm tired of seriousness and need funny. Satire seems like it might be doable, but I don't want to slow down your class. Should I still enroll?
Oh my gosh, for sure. I can't even, I'm Scott, I'm sure you're going to say that you have this same experience, but I can't tell you how many people come to us here at the Sketch School that are exactly in this same scenario, Renee, with this same background, and are coming to us writing for the first time and finding their voice and learning tools and beginning this process. And it's like, that's what we're here for. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure you have that same experience, Scott.
Oh, all the time. Tam, what was the first name of the person who wrote that question?
Renee?
Renee, you are funny. Okay. Everybody is funny. To say I'm not funny it's sad for me to hear that. It's almost like let's say somebody's been unlucky in love. That's like saying, oh, I'm just not lovable. It's like, no, everybody's funny. Like everybody has something about them. Humans are funny. And it's just a matter of finding that thing
Mm-hmm.
and drawing it out, letting yourself freely express that part of yourself, which, you may have stunted for whatever reason because of your work, but it's in there. It's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this would be a great way to tease it out, a course like this, no question.
Yeah. Good question. Good answer from my kin, Renee Horton, that I've never met.
Yes, the
Um,
Hortons are all here.
Next question from Liam. Do you think the AI hysteria will affect the amount of careers in comedy writing?
It will affect comedy writing. I think that for me right now, and the way we've looked at it as an institution, is how and where can we use it effectively as a tool for us to get better at our writing, to hone our voice, to create more, etc. And I think that there are ways in which it can be a great tool to do that. Scott, I think you may have taught a whole workshop on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you have to embrace it because it's here whether you want it to be or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely going to affect things. At the end of the day, people, audiences that is, are always going to want a human to entertain them. And so no matter what role AI plays in anything, like that's the bottom line. So you get to decide how much or how little you want AI to be involved. Like I think it's a great tool for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And look at me, I embraced it so much that I made this app, this AI chatbot that really knows comedy. It knows all the science of comedy. Like I want people to have that tool. Like, and it's been really helpful for people. And it's best used as a sounding board. You write your own comedy and it gives you feedback and it helps you, it guides you, but it's not writing comedy for you. Like if you're taking comedy from AI, like that's never going to work, because comedy is about communicating feelings and ideas from one person to another person. What it's all about, and it's all it's ever going to be about. So, not worried about it. Yeah, I embrace it.
Any thoughts from you, Mark?
Same. Yeah, same.
Yeah. Okay.
Embrace it.
All right. Next question from Carrie. Best advice for running a sketch writers group?
Have good
That's
snacks out.
uh,
I'm only half joking. I mean, my first knee jerk thought would be um, ideally someone who is running a writers group has been in one as a writer themselves first. I think if you've got that experience of being in one, seeing how a group could run, that helps. If that's not the scenario, a quick shorthand that I would offer up as a general rule of thumb, I think, is trying to give equal general rules of thumb. Try to give equal time to everybody. Everybody trying to share the space. Um, Criticism should be constructive criticism, right? And never pitch a critique without an idea for a solution is a golden rule. I'm always encouraging people to follow. Um, Scott,
that's a
anything
good,
come to mind for you?
yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, Tam and I run a writers group weekly, and Tam, I'd love for you to chime in on everything you've learned about what's the
Mm.
best practices, because we have a lot of people coming in with sketches.
Mm-hmm. Definitely come early. If you're writing a sketch in particular, maybe bring just the concept first and your brief outline, because you tend to get married to your ideas the longer you've been working on, like a sunk cost fallacy. And so, if you come early, then you can really shape it into the right material that will be funnier and more workable by doing that. And don't be afraid to change it, even though again, with the sunk cost fallacy, even though you've done all this work on it, if you get feedback that tells you you need to take it in a different direction, don't ignore that feedback. Take it seriously, especially if it's coming from someone who is um, more skilled or advanced in that particular area.
That's so great, Tam. That's
Good
such
answer,
great
Tam.
advice, Tam. And that one can be a trap for us at every experience level. Like where we're like,
Hmm.
Totally.
we're like, oh, okay, all right. 6 people have told me this joke doesn't work, but I love it so much. But everyone I've shown it to says it doesn't work, but I don't want to cut it. But we got to listen to that sometimes.
Yeah. Mark, what do you say to doing two more questions?
That sounds good.
Sounds good?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's see. Is there a limit on how this should be a freebie, y'all, because it's easy. Is there a limit on how many people can sign up for the workshop?
No,
We didn't talk about a limit, but
we
yeah, I
have
think
not set a
we
limit.
Okay.
that's the beauty of the digital course is that we don't have to worry about how many seats are in the classroom.
Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
again, as a reminder, unlike tonight, which we deliberately chose to do as a webinar, the masterclass is going to be a Zoom meeting. We will all see each other. We will all be present in the same room and be interacting with each other live.
Yeah, we'll be reading your material, giving feedback, and talking through your ideas. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Okay. Here's a good one. I'm having a hard time narrowing down what I'm doing. Doing a little bit of satire, stand up, sketch writing. I'm having fun with all of it, but also feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff on my own whims. How do I know which direction to head in while I'm enjoying all of it?
That is a great question,
Yeah.
and I'll be happy to answer that. First of all, I think it's really good to be doing all the stuff and having fun doing it all. I think of comedy like exercise. And if you're only doing stand up, you're not doing any of the other stuff like prose or sketch or making movies, making sketches, video sketches, then it's like you're only working out your calves, and the rest of your body is scrawny. So I think that's very good and very healthy. How do you decide what to focus on? Well, you keep doing it and keep your ear to the winds and notice when you're getting traction on something. Notice when one particular thing you're doing is getting really positive feedback and good attention, maybe live or maybe like on social media, just getting more follows or likes than other stuff. Then I would lean more into that one
Hmm.
because building a platform is so important. It's really critical in this day and age to build your own audience. And that's how you do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have nothing to add to that great answer.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, one more question, and I
Sure,
like
we'll
this
squeeze it right in.
question. I like this question. Is it
All
okay to write or perform comedy just because you like it? It's still inherently valuable even if you don't make it, right? Sometimes it feels like if you're not paid for it, it's a waste of time in today's culture, or that if you don't become the best you failed.
I think that was Andrew's question, and I answered him in the chat. But Mark, why don't you go ahead and answer that one
I mean,
live?
strong yes for me. It's something I talk about frequently in my workshops is like, it's okay to be here just for fun. Like, it's okay to be here as a hobby. It's okay to be here as an artist. It's okay to be doing this as a creator. It's okay to be doing it because it's satisfying to you, even if you're not thinking of, trying to get to XYZ comedy goal. Of course, of course, of course.
Yeah, great answer. Guys, I'm losing my light because the
It's like
sun's going the sun
blackout.
is going down.
A slow fade is happening in your
Exactly.
on your
Watch it
stage.
if you watch this in fast speed, it'll be like, "Ooh." But it's been a great webinar, you guys. Thanks everybody for joining,
Yeah, thank you
and
all for being here.
we hope to see you in the course. Tam, you want to put that course link up there one more time?
Yep, I
And
Put it
sure
up
will.
on screen one more time
you know,
too.
we'll send you a follow-up email to remind you. An insufferable quantity of emails, really, but that's how email works nowadays.
Yeah.
Uh, any last words from you, Mark?
This is such a pleasure to do. So cool to kind of kick off this process together here with you,
Yeah,
Scott and Tam, and then we're gonna be here the next 4 Wednesdays too, and excited to continue exploring these satire keys together. Man, thanks
me
to
too.
everybody for joining us and for all your interaction and chat and great questions.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Tam, thanks so much for being here with us. A lot of fun to have you, as always.
Absolutely. It has
And
been fun, y'all.
we'll catch you all on the flip side.
Thanks all.
Have a
Bye,
great
everybody.
one.